And guys, in this next news story, a man has been found guilty of murder and false imprisonments after detailed forensic analysis led to the swift identification of him and two others involved in the crime. Following a trial at the Old Bailey, which concluded last Tuesday, Jurick Croes was found guilty of murdering Riches Obi and the false imprisonment of his mother. Rochelle Felomena was found guilty of false imprisonment, and Savinka Martis was found guilty of false imprisonment and perverting the course of justice. All these were Dutch nationals. Despite Croes and Felomena leaving the scene immediately after the offence, officers worked closely with overseas law enforcement agencies and both were arrested and extradited to face trial. They're going to be sentenced next week. So an investigation was launched after officers were called to Rich's home address on Tuesday the 17th of November 2020 and found the door partially open. On entering the property, they found Riches lying on the ground with stab and slash wounds. Despite the efforts of paramedics who had rushed to the flat, Riches was pronounced dead at the scene. When an officer called out to see if anyone else was in the house, they heard a woman's voice reply, "I'm here, I'm here." Following her voice, officers went through the flat until they found her in a bedroom bound with cable ties. A scarf was tied around her neck and looked as though it had been used as a gag. On searching the property, officers found a bag of cable ties identical to the ones used to bind the woman. The ties contained a price tag to a nearby hardware store, where officers attended and viewed CCTV and identified Martis as the person who purchased them. Further CCTV analysis showed her driving away from the shop in a rented vehicle, which detectives later established she had hired for the days spanning the murder. After she was arrested later that month, detectives seized Martis' phone and its contents were analysed and showed she had various communications and messages linking her to Felomena and Croes. This included ferry time showing them arriving from Holland prior to the murder, then fleeing on the same ferry on the night of the 17th of November. The phone also revealed Martis had been searching for heavy-duty duct tape the night before the murder and the news of the murder in the aftermath of the attack. Forensic analysis was to prove key in showing Felomena and Croes' role in the incident. Two knives had been recovered from the flats, both of which had been used to attack Riches. Forensics found DNA on both weapons matched Felomena and Croes. Other items found inside the address, including envelopes and cable ties, revealed traces of DNA from both men. DNA from Croes was also found on a black baseball hat that had been discarded in the bedroom of the flat. When the hire car Martis had used was seized and examined, Croes' blood was found inside the vehicle. Detectives traced Felomena to Holland and he was arrested and extradited in November 2021, and Croes fled to Colombia, but he was arrested in February 2022 and it took 18 months for his extradition, but he returned to the UK to face trial. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of why this actually happened. So it was stated in court that this boy was stabbed because his mother was a legal executive and she was bound and gagged, as we heard, because she didn't pay enough for the sham marriage scheme. So his mother was working for a solicitor's firm specializing in immigration and nationality law, and she was found with her ankles, wrists restrained by cable ties in a bedroom. So the prosecutor said the background to the offences seemed to be lying in a sham marriage scheme in which all three of these defendants and the victim's mother was engaged, and it seems likely that these defendants had become angry in some way about the money they were getting for their part in the scheme, and they went to the woman's flat determined to demand and get money off her. Said when cops obviously came, they found the front door partially open, and then they saw a great deal of blood on the door, on the floor, and on the walls, and the victim was unresponsive and he didn't appear to be breathing. He was a young man called Riches Obi. Said the first officer called and he heard a woman's voice who said, "I'm here," and basically when the officer looked at the room, it was heavily stained with blood on the bed, door and furniture. The prosecutor said 2 knives were found in the bedroom where the victim's mother had been cable tied, as well as a baseball cap. Whilst in the living room, police, they found documentation, and the documentation was Croes and Felomena's passports, employee forms, energy bills, and there was a Netherlands ID card as well. However, it's believed that neither Jurick or Rochelle were clients of the solicitor's firm that the victim's mother worked for, but these were documents that were necessary for sham marriages to be arranged for them. Chief Inspector Matt Webb from the Met Specialist Crime Command who led the investigation said Riches Obi was attacked and killed in such a horrifying manner in his own home, and it's thought that the three suspects were involved in some way in a money-making scam with the woman they targeted. Whether Riches had tried to intervene is not known, but it's clearly subjected to a sustained violent assault while his mother was tied up. Thanks to fast time and diligent police work, we were able to identify Martis as playing a key role in the preparation for this attack, and her arrest led us to identify Philomena and Croes' role, and despite their efforts to evade capture by fleeing the country, they could not escape the consequences of what they had done. I hope this conviction demonstrates to those engaged in significant criminality, international borders are not barriers, and UK law enforcement will utilise the repertoire of international cooperation tools available to bring offenders to justice. Our thoughts remain with Rich's family, who have been made to endure a significant wait to see justice done, and I can only hope these convictions can allow some way for them to begin to move on in their lives. So just want to say rest in peace, Mr. Riches, and my condolences go out to your family. And guys, in this next news story, an online drug ring which used post offices, including one in Havering, to send out deliveries to its customers has been unveiled. The Met Police says it dismantled the ring in East London, which used various platforms online such as World Pharmacy, Baked Bros, Baked Stores to gain an audience. During an investigation between August 2022 and May 2023, a total of 88 items, including a substantial amount of controlled drugs, were seized. They also included cutting agents used to bulk out the drugs, scales, empty bottles, post office labels, drug ledgers, and multiple mobile phones. The total value seized is estimated to be worth around £150,000. Customers who are subscribed to these channels on Telegram or WhatsApp could place orders, and the Class A, B and C drugs would be discreetly packaged and shipped via mail services. An investigation into the Baked Bros channel, which had 3,300 subscribers, revealed adverts for drugs and a Snapchat account offering various substances. Simon Karmolinski, who's 25, managed the day-to-day activities by overseeing the accounts, while his fiancée Amanda Buisa worked on packaging, logo designing, and even passed on drug orders from her friends. She even used her bank account to receive money from the operation. Magic Budinsky was employed to handle customer orders. The Met Police said that Karmolinski frequently visited Buzdaziski at his home address to collect bags of parcels and send them at post offices. So appearing at Snaresbrook Crown Court, they were sentenced. So Budzinski was sentenced to 10 years and 8 months in prison. Karmolinski received 5 years and 10 months, and Buisa was given a 15-month suspended sentence until to complete 250 hours of unpaid work. Head Inspector Dave Mann, who led the investigation, said these sentences handed down as a result of a detailed investigation into the supply of controlled drugs with a national customer base. We know about the link between drugs and violence, and that drives us to crack down on offenders and place them before the courts. So guys, these are a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.